Hi all, quick video. I'm just reacting to a news story that appeared in The Guardian. It was published on the 14th of November. The title is "Where Have All the Translators Gone?" and the subtitle, "The global audience for foreign language streaming shows has never been larger, but subtitlers are leaving the industry in drones." And the article talks about, basically there's been a huge, if you've made a TV show that cost you 100 million, for a few thousand you can stick some Polish subtitles on and you might get 5 million more viewers, right? So it's a no-brainer. If you're Netflix, everything you've got, just chuck 20 subtitles on there. Chuck Hindi, chuck German, Italian, throw them all on there. I mean, the cost is so low. Even if you only get a couple of dozen viewers, man, I mean, it adds up, right? Subtitles are, in a way, even harder than other types of document because you have to only fit them on the screen. And in TV shows, the way people speak doesn't really. It's a challenging thing to translate. The article's very negative, and I think it's correctly picked up on the fact that there are two trends. One trend is that there's a lot of money floating about. Everyone thinks they're going to be the one who does the Uber of translation, where you get an AI, and once it's set up, it costs nothing to run. You have your AI sitting there in the background, it translates everything, and even if your prices are really low, you get to make a fortune by, every film has to go through your AI. And so there's loads of money in Silicon Valley going into this kind of research, and that's one thing. The other factor is linguistics, which has kind of moved the other way, where we've sort of started to say, hang on, languages aren't just the words, there's a lot more behind it. It's a shared cultural understanding. It's not just about, oh well, if you see this word, it means this. No, if you see that word, why can't if I say to a computer, clean the house, what does to a robot, what would the robot do? It wouldn't know what that means. It doesn't know you have to wipe the surfaces with Pledge, and you've got to scrub the inside of the toilet, you got to mop the floor. It doesn't. The word clean only means clean because we know that when we say clean the house to our friends, we mean scrub the toilet, hoover the carpets, make the beds, whatever. And in another culture, like in my source culture, Chinese, lots of words are used somewhat differently, and every speaker uses them in a slightly different way, and writers pick up on that, and they deliberately use these kind of corners of the language where interesting things happen. They may not realize they're doing that, but that's what makes good writers good, is that they find features of the language that create problems that are problematic for linguists, but they're thrilling and exciting for reviewers. Maybe there's a pun, maybe there's a double entendre you can throw in there, or maybe you can use in Silence of the Lambs, at one point Clarice says something like, "I'm going down to town," or something, and Hannibal Lecter picks up, she's poor, she's from a mountain village, and for her, going down to town means, getting a bus to the general store and buying some oatmeal in a sack. And he picks up on her use of that expression. And if someone from New York had said it, it would have conveyed a completely different meaning, So linguists are realizing that a lot of communication will never be AIable, or if it is AIable, it will be AIable when an AI can write creative thoughts. At that point, it will then be able to also translate creatively. I don't think we're near to that. I think all we're really doing is looking at what other translators have done, aggregating, taking the average results. So these two forces are pushing apart. The Silicon Valley are sort of pushing harder and harder to try and get something. I think they've basically hit the lid of how good the technology will get, and now there'll be like a gentle but everyone thinks they're going to get this next big innovation. That's why there's so much money going into it. And skillful translators are getting fewer and fewer jobs because the people in the newer companies are like, well, you know, AI can do this. Why am I paying so much money? It's only words. But there are a lot of people out there that recognise the value of a good translator. Just like, you know, I'm sure you could get an AI to do architecture. I'm sure an AI could do my accounts, but I need an accountant. I don't want an AI doing my accounts. Maybe if you're a tiny business for the first couple of years, you could have an AI do it. You know, you get these AI personal trainers, but they don't. I mean, you know, okay, my left knee was a bit sore last night. Okay, do 4 less squats. I mean, well, come on, what are we talking about here? Or my wife's sick, so I didn't sleep well. Okay, do 2 less squats and 1 more military press. I mean, what are we talking about? Yeah, so it's interesting. I think we're going to be working with machine translation. I think an awful lot of documents can go down that route of just being automated. I think that will happen, but there's still going to be a huge amount of documents that just can't be automated in that way. So I'm not as pessimistic as this article. Yeah, and I'm not as optimistic as some people either. I think trying to automate everything is going to end in disaster for a lot of people. I think it's a bit like the quartz time with watches, where everyone went down this quartz. Every watch was quartz in the 70s, and now you can buy an old quartz Omega or a Rolex for £10. You know, no one wants them anymore. Now everyone wants an intricate mechanical watch. If you just want to kind of get your meaning across, then yeah, it can probably be done cheaply, and it may well be that AI can kind of start working out ways to just convey the meaning. But to have a nice piece of writing, I think for the foreseeable future, you're going to need a human. All right.